Good evening, everyone. I am Neeraj Bunkar, a final year PhD student at Nottingham Trent University and the organizer of this festival. I'm really excited to welcome you all to our second session of the Dalit and Adivasi Film Festival, DAFF 2025. This year, we have specially curated lineup of 12 films by Dalit and Adivasi filmmakers. Four of these films were already screened in our last session. So I think, and each screening will be followed by an interactive discussion with the filmmaker. And as you know that we are dedicating this DAF 2025 to PK Rosie, the first actress of Malayalam cinema and a true pioneer in the industry. So for today's session, we will be screening two films. First will be The Waterfall, a 21-minute short film in English directed by Lipika Singh Darai. It traces the evolution of a young city boy, Karun, to appreciate the value of the environment as well as think critically about climate change and development. On a trip to his ancestral home in the interiors of the state of Orissa in India, he reflects on the nature of his relationship with a beautiful landscape and its relationship in turn with his city life. And our second film, Sasandiri, a 16-minute short docu film in Mundari and Hindi, directed by Seral Murmu, tells the story of the tribal rights movement in Jharkhand following the work and struggles of prominent tribal activists from within the community. The title Sasandiri refers to a tombstone which also serves as a landholding marker and record for the tribals. The film delves into the lives of these activists as they fight for their community's rights, highlighting their struggle, challenges, and triumphs. It explored the complexities of advocating for land and cultural heritage, offering a glimpse into the history and significance of the tribal rights movement in Jharkhand. So let's begin the screening. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all have enjoyed both the films. And if you have any questions or comments for the filmmakers, please drop them in the comment section so that we can bring them in into our discussion. So before we begin our discussion, let me introduce our filmmakers and discussion participants for today's session. So the filmmakers Lipika Singh Darai is an Indian filmmaker, editor, and sound recordist from Orissa. She graduated from the Film and Television Institute of India in 2010, specializing in sound recording and design. Belonging to the Ho indigenous community, Darai has focused her work on socio-cultural themes, particularly those related to Orissa. Throughout her career, Darai has received four National Film Awards in the non-feature section for direction, sound recording, and narration. Her debut film, A Tree, A Man, A Sea, 2012, earned her the Best Debut Film of a Director award. She continued to explore pressing social issues in her subsequent works, such as Some Stories Around Witches, 2015, which delves into the humanitarian crisis of witch hunts in Orissa, and The Waterfall, which have we already have screened today, is a short fiction film highlighting the struggle of protecting a dying waterfall. In 2023, the Rise documentary Night and Fear premiered at the International Film Festival Rotterdam in the Amodo Tiger Short competition. She is currently developing her debut fiction feature, Bird Woman, which has received support from the Hubert Ball's development funds. Additionally, she was recognized as one of the 10 creative talents in BAFTA Breakthrough India 2023. The Rai's work is deeply rooted in the cultural and social landscape of Odisha, reflecting her commitment to bringing regional stories to a broader audience. Her films often explore themes of social justice, cultural heritage, and the resilience of marginalized communities. And our second filmmaker, Seral Murmu, is also a filmmaker and graduated from the same institute, Film and Television Institute of India, Pune. His films focus on tribal issues, identity, and the struggle for equality and justice. Through his work, he aims to strengthen the tribal resistance movements taking place across different parts of India. Belonging to the Santhal tribe, Seral Murmu was born and raised in Ghatsila, a small town on the banks of the Subarnrekha River. He began his journey in filmmaking by assisting documentary filmmakers while pursuing an undergraduate degree in mass communication at St. Xavier's College, Ranchi, Jharkhand. During this time, he closely observed the power of cinema as a medium of change, which inspired him to become a filmmaker and share his own stories with the world. Ranchi has been an epicenter for tribal activists fighting for their rights and justice. Murmu became closely associated with these activists, collaborating with them and creating documentaries to amplify the voices of the unheard. As a cinematographer and editor, he has contributed to making almost 8 documentaries and short fiction films. His short films, Rava and Sondhiani, have been screened and received awards at both national and international film festivals. He is currently working on feature-length documentary about the history of Santali cinema. Additionally, he has been commissioned to make 2 documentaries for the Ramdial Munda Tribal Research Institute in Ranchi and is developing a feature-length Santali film. Murmu has a deep interest in tribal folklore, myths, arts, and folk songs, all of which serves to be as the foundation of his storytelling. And then I would like to introduce my co-host for today's session, Dr. Nicole Thiara. She teaches post-colonial and contemporary literature at Nottingham Trent University. Her area of research is Dalit and South Asian literature, and her current research project is the representation of modernity in Dalit literature. Now, second co-host, Dr. Judith Misrai Barak, is a professor of post-colonial studies at the Université Paul Valéry Montpellier III, France, specializing in Caribbean, Indo, and Sino-Caribbean literature, diaspora, and migrant writing. Her recent research explored Dalit literature, having co-led AHRC projects on Dalit and Adivasi literature and performance from 2014 to 2023. And she also co-edited the Routledge Companion to Cast in Cinema in India 2022. And our third co-host is Sohini Burman, is a doctoral candidate in the School of Arts and Humanities at the Nottingham Trent University. She completed her BA and MA at Jadavpur University, Kolkata, India, and her PhD research focuses on Dalit literature in Bengal. And our last co-host, Mirgakshi Das, is from Orissa, India, and a doctoral candidate at the School of Arts and Humanities, Nottingham Trent University, UK. She holds both a master's and bachelor degrees in English from the Delhi University. Her current research focuses on Adivasi literature, and her thesis is titled Adivasi Literature and Cinema, Exploring Adivasi Alterity and Assertion. Her areas of interest include Dalit literature, Adivasi literature, and decolonial and post-colonial study. So now this floor is open for the discussion, and anyone who wishes to begin may go ahead.
Yeah. So I think I would like to begin. So the films were really beautiful in their own way. And so I have question for both of you, just one. So for Lipika, I would like to ask, I think the film was very visually appealing. It was picturesque, scenic, and I think it was true representation what Odisha has to offer. But the the Adivasi character in the movie remains silent throughout. So we do not see him talking to anyone, and he only sings in the movie. So I wanted to know your intention behind it. Are you trying to represent him as someone who is oppressed and marginalized and therefore silenced, or you are trying to showcase the cultural divide that exists between the both? And for Seral, I think the documentary was beautiful. It was a blend of your own journey. I think you mentioned Shandhaini also in the documentary, and also it told a story of the megaliths that were built. And along with that, you also highlight the rituals that goes behind placing these megaliths. So my question to you is that because most of your film also focuses on folk tales and ritual practices that exist, so my question is that how do you see film as a medium of preservation? So I wanted to know your insights on that. Yeah. So yeah,
Wow. So I should answer first.
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
you can go.
Yeah, so thank you for having me and thank you for screening this film. This film is very close to me because I got to spend a lot of time in the forest and got to really converse with the waterfall, the tree, and everything around it. Got to understand the magical, presence of nature even more profoundly through this film. So, the question about the, characterization of an Adivasi character in the film. So, basically, this film is specially made for children who are studying in 9th or 10th standard. So this film was so it is in English and also paradubbed in Hindi language. So it's in two language. So in English medium schools, it is shown in English language, and in urban schools, and in semi-urban and small town schools, it is shown in Hindi language. So my interest was to initial interest was to make the film in Odia language, but because the producer, they distribute this film to thousands of schools in India and Southeast Asia, they preferred English and Hindi. So my greed was to reach as many numbers of students I could reach. That was the first thing. And also because I really wanted to reach out to the children and the people who are studying in urban areas in India, who are completely away from any connection with nature as such. They go to a waterfall or a forest to have picnics, or just to have just what do you call it, just to have some camping or something, hiking, and they come back. They take pictures, they are happy to see the waterfall and big trees, and they come back. No one is there to actually tell them stories that, what is the story behind the life of a waterfall. How does a waterfall, in a very simpler way. So that was the initial ideas, that the waterfall is becoming a river. From the river, the water is coming to your pipes, to your home, and the river is flowing through your houses. So my first, you know not target, but I'm not getting the right word, but my aim was to just reconnect that missing thread. And in fiction, what happens is, because you are also making it for children, you have to be very, that has to be a little attractive. You have to attract them a little bit, and so that they can have meaningful debates or arguments and conversation around it. So, because this film was for a certain purpose, it was for cinema class. Right now, also, it has been, shown. Right now, also, years after years, people are seeing this film and discussing over it. So, about the character, it is the film starts from the urban boy's point of view. So, whatever he sees, whatever he observes, whatever little he gets to know about the character, the perspective has been formed like that. That's why he could only remember the song. That's why he could only, get the glimpse of the character. So it's from his perspective. And also, I really wanted to, put it forward that in cities, in towns, in big cities, people are so drawn towards, children are so drawn towards, heroic films. The superheroes film, this hero should be like that, hero should be like that. And I just wanted to break it for them a little, that a hero or a leader can look like him, and it has been all mentioned in the questionnaire post, for their discussion with the project. So, and to my fortune, the person, the old man, is not an actor. He is the real leader of the protest. He is the community head of 50 villages who stood by the waterfall and fought for the entire stretch. So because he was acting, so I also, I really wanted to have him, because I had this documentary lens towards the film. So everything is kind of, we shot in the real location. And in 2016, there has been like huge protest going on there. So it was very difficult to shoot over there. So we managed to shoot in the real location with the leader making a fiction film. So to me, as a documentary filmmaker, to have this on board, because it's a transition from real to fiction, but yet real. So that's why he is not acting so much, and also because the character's perspective, and you know and I kept what he really means, what is development. It is his words. So this much of characterization I could get for the audience that I had in mind. Yeah.
I think it's wonderful knowing that he is a real leader.
Yeah.
You
His
have
name is
that kind.
Bilua Naik.
Oh,
Bilua
wow.
means fox.
Yeah,
And and as a person, he in the night also he can just run like a fox. He can see in the forest. He
wow.
can just walk in the forest without light. I mean, I really love him. So yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wonderful.
sometimes film cannot represent everything, but the remaining discussion for that, filmmakers are there, or,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
discussion that in the cinema class are happening.
yeah,
I have a questionnaire for that. They know who is Bilwa Naik and everything.
yeah.
So there is other extension to the film also.
No, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Seral.
So, yeah, it's quite obvious, cinema as a medium of preservation. We all know that it does, some kind of preservation it does. But it's very interesting when I go and shoot, documentaries and kind of hear stories from them. The stories, it varies from one person, from one village to different to another village. So I think it is interesting how when we don't have this written documentation or anything like that, and we have this oral literature with us. So we have this liberty. You travel about 5 kilometers from your place to another place. You will have a different myth about the same thing, or maybe different belief, or a slight change in a belief of how somebody looks into some rituals, or maybe uh, even for example, I tell you, recently I was documenting this about mm, Baha festival. So one village, when I went there, he told me that the Baha festival is all about his narration was completely different from what I interviewed a person about 10-15 kilometers away from him. They have this belief system that yeah, it should be Baha, it happens during when new leaves comes, but they have the different kind of narration to what they're giving to the same festival. So yeah, it's important, that kind. I see this thing very interesting, but I don't know what will happen after we kind of make a textbook of this is this and this is this, and nothing can be there will be no fun in kind of uh, so yeah, the cinema, it's obvious, we all know that it's a thing, that it's a medium of preservation. So I don't know, I do it's quite obvious that yeah,
Yeah.
it's
No, I completely understand because I also have Santal roots, and in Mayurbhanj there are completely different rituals, and now Dasan is going on, and Baha also at different period of time they celebrate Baha. So I think it varies from village to village.
yeah, yeah,
So the
definitely.
ritual are intrinsically connected to the land. So yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for answering the question.
Toini, you want to ask?
Yes. First of all, I would like to say both films, I enjoyed watching them and they are really beautiful. Thank you so much for making these films. My first question is to Siral. So, I really enjoyed the detail with which you capture the entire ritual of Sasandiri. And I would just like to know more about some of the meanings behind each of the actions that are there in the ritual. if you could elucidate on that. And for Deepika, my question is about the use of the English language in the film. And we see the characters speaking in English to each other, although they do speak to the Adivasi characters in Odia, but it primarily, the narration of the story takes place in English. So I would like to know your intentions behind this decision. So yes, these are my questions.
So uh, well, in a ritual, we can say there are too many things happening, but straightforwardly, if I say in a Sasandiri or this, when we make a graveyard, so if you go to a Munda place or a Ho place, you'll see that the graveyards are not, kind of very far away from their houses. It's quite, Lipika will be, yes, you will be able to tell that. It's just in your, uh, it's, they don't see the Adivasis, what we say, we don't see death as a, what was he, it's not kind of something very scary or we don't see a ghost or something like that. So there is a ritual also in Santal and Ho, which I have observed. It's called Umul Ader. So umul means literally means what the shadow, and other means bringing it back to a house. So it's a ritual which we do to bring back the soul of the dead person back to the house. So after the death, the spirit of that person is not going to hell or heaven anywhere. They'll be staying with us, and they will be our soul protector. And whenever we are in some kind of, like if we are in some trouble or something, if we offer something, we don't have gods as such, but we offer those things to our ancestors to so all these rituals have, there are too many things happening in Sasandari. We have this, when there is a death, there will be, Sasandari is just an end part of what we see. The burial of this the tombstone and all. Uh, yeah, but yeah, I don't know how can I answer you everything with the
Yes, there are too many things happening, yes. And I really like the details with which you capture things. And so how do you like plan it when you
well, actually, which the film, the ritual which are there in the film are just the end part of the ritual which happens. Before that, too many things also, the important rituals also happens, like I said, Umul Ader and Dul Sunom, which happens every year in memory of that dead person. This burial thing, basically what happens when I started making film on megalith, and was trying to connect megalith and this burial stones and all. So I was completely, focused into this burial stones and their history and impact, social impact, and the political use, and what is the present scenario now.
Right.
So that way, I was not very much into the detail of the rituals, but it was mainly about what we say. My film started in 2018. There was an Pathalgari movement which happened in the Khuti and Chaibasa and some other places in Chhattisgarh. Uh, so what happened is people kind of started writing, the constitutional right on the tombstone, and which was kind of, government thought it was a threat to, uh, matlab, they are asking their right. So it was brutally, uh, the movement was not a very successful movement, and after what we say, the it was brutally crushed, and many people were inside the jail also, and some are even now also they are facing trials and all. So my film was to focus, the historical impact and what is the present scenario with the stone, and why the government, the power thinks this as a threat. The simple ritual of stone burial, and why the powers are, kind of threatened uh, by this simple ritual.
Yes, and you did a really good job doing that. So thank you very much. And so Deepika, if you will.
Yeah, so as I earlier mentioned, this film was produced by a company called LXL Ideas, which is led by Saeed Sultan Ahmad, who has a project called School Cinema, started some 8, 9 years back. And so he works with many independent filmmakers who they have some, subjects that they want to work on. Uh, for across the school children across India and also other countries, according to my knowledge. So why English? It's the same reason why we are right now speaking in English. We all are talking in English. Is the same reason. Just to because English is the very popular school medium in India. If you are studying in a very good school, then the medium of teaching is English. So if you are producing films for those children of middle and upper middle class parents who can afford a good school and they feel proud that my children are getting educated in English, and if you produce a film for them who are getting disconnected with the nature, then it has to be in English. So that is why it is in English, so that their children, they don't have to read the subtitle, so they can understand it quickly. And that's why also it has been parodied up. The same film is parodied up in in Hindi. And the Hindi medium film, Hindi is a widely spoken language in India, and it is also a little forced language in India to on people to speak in Hindi. So Hindi is the second language for this film. And some people also approached the school cinema project to dub the film in various language, because it has been shown in many, many, many schools and everything. So some NGOs and some interested people, they wanted to also dub it in Bengali, a regional language, and other language. So I have also met mothers of children who recognize me at some store or somewhere in the road. Oh, are you the director of Waterfall? I mean, what? I mean, I can't believe it. So yeah, this film has reached to children and their moms and their parents. So it feels good. It feels good that uh, okay, it's fine. It's in English. I wanted to make it in Oriya, but theek hai, it can be dubbed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Deepika.
Yeah. Thank you.
Neeraj.
Yeah, Nicole.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Yes. So maybe I would like to, follow up on what you said just a few minutes ago about the characters and the characterization. So this would be for Deepika. Sorry. Because in fact you have, the two characters in your film are, the local boy and then the urban boy, the city boy. So in fact, it offers this kind of, duality. And one can have, as viewers, one can have the impression that it's going to be, either or. The perspective of this one or that one. But in fact, it's not what happens. So I was wondering whether you had thought about, constructing a kind of third route, third way that would enable us to move away from this, antagonism and separation between people and opposition also between people. That is, politically constructed and politically problematic in a way. So I was thinking, that maybe that kind of friendship and showing how this friendship develops is also a political stance in a way to go against the either or mechanisms that have been installed, in fact, recently. I mean, so this was my question, to Libica. And I also have a question to Seral. I mean, I also wanted to follow up on what you were saying, just a few minutes ago, and saying, how much, how clear it is in your film that the dead are so much, part of the living, and so much. I mean, there can't be any living without, without this proximity and closeness and familiarity with the dead. So this, ties in with what you were saying about the closeness of the tombstones. So maybe you can, say a few more things about this. And of course, I was also curious to know how this project would develop, because it seems that you still may want to finalize the film. So what is the process, and where are you standing, at the moment? But both of you, thank you so much for the films. They were, wonderful.
So as again, I would have to start with that same thing that the main viewers were children. The idea was to give them two very solid arguments. One, like, which have some separation, like one who is who is coming from the city, and one who has been staying in close to the nature but still away a little bit. So how they both, put forward their understanding and their argument, so that the viewer can put them in that third dimension to understand and counter argue. So I just wanted to build that space so that they can put their argument. Is there in between any, they can think that, is there anything that we can, come up with? Is there any argument then we can develop what they both are missing, or something like that? So I just wanted to put a little bit of separation, not giving all the answers, because of course there were many other questions, many other conflicts, those were not answered. So one is a city boy being a bit of having this romantic idea of the nature, about dream and everything, and this village person who is also dealing with the early marriage of his younger sister, and someone who is destroying a part of hands in destroying the forest and the hills. He is going to be a part of their family getting married to his sister. So now he has to deal with the person himself in the family. So he is dealing a lot of things in real life. There is a lot of practicality with the village boy Neelu, and with Karun, it's all about distant thing. He's dreaming about a river. He has never seen this river coming like that, and he has never seen a waterfall so closely. So everything is a little distance to him, and this boy is dealing with, he's using the same road which is so good, made by the mining authorities or something. Because in a screening, a small boy asked me that, how is this road so beautiful, why this road is so neat, to the this thing. So I said, yeah. So these are the questions which are not answered. There is space given to these two arguments, which has, and also I felt that nature could also bring in certain, that third thing to the film. So let me just leave it to that. That was the idea. Yeah.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
Sihan?
Judith, yeah. So yeah, to me also, I think as a Santhal, I can say when I went to my friend's place, he was a Munda tribe, and also visited some Ho villages also. For me also, it was completely different. The kind of the tombstone were just on the entrance of the house, and kids can be seen playing on the tombs, and it was nothing like somebody is buried inside and you should be worry about. So for me also, when I first time visited those places, it was like, yeah, somebody is here dead and we should be mourning about it. So for them it was not that kind of thing. Yeah, somebody somebody's dead body is not there, but he is still with us, since inside the house. His spirit is still living with us. So this idea is kind of was quite fascinating for me. And about the project, I will say this film is just what we say. It's a 1/4 of what the whole film will be, because what I was thinking about, was a whole lot more things about megalith, starting from stars, moons, and all, and connecting it to tribal philosophies, the Sasandiri, and the kind of politics which is happening around, the kind of the negative names which government is giving it to this ritual. So there are too many things, but since we have this deadline that we have this festival around, so I was kind of too many jumble cans in my room, and I had to edit them, and I was completely lost on I don't know what to do. So I thought of let's keep it straight and talk about Sasandiri, just this part of the ritual and its importance. And we also see in the film where Meghnath also says that this Sasandri, it's also used as a land patta, what we say, land deed. It is used for tribal people. So there is also the story about how. And then the tribal people to the Munda, I think people have to take the whole 200 300 kilograms of stone slab to Kolkata, just to prove that this land belongs to them. So all those stories are also there. It's I don't know this. I was trying to find out is this was real, or I don't, it's a made up story or something. I don't know. But yeah, people have this thing that we have this word called Khutkatti's Jameen, which means that you own that place, and it's not necessarily you will have the papers for that plot or that field. But since your ancestors are buried there, and you kind of uh, you can say that this is my land, my ancestors are buried here.
Claim it. Yes.
So that is also one kind of and also it is quite interesting. When I was there, my DOP, my friend was shooting it, and he was saying that, yeah, what if the why only a small part of land is only a kind of uh, if the whole forest is for tribals, they could have buried everywhere, no, that this is also this hill is my grandfather, this hill is mine, but they don't do that. So they just have this small amount of plot which they say that this is my own. So they don't have this what we kindly greed for having this, this thing. So have I answered? But I've completely lost your
Yes,
question.
absolutely. So thank you. Yes. And I'm sure Nicole will follow up as well. Yeah.
Maybe next time I can answer first, because after listening to Lipika, I'm forgetting my what to say.
So why don't you answer first? Because I have a question for
I'll be
both
doing
of
that.
you.
I'll be
You
answering
answer
first
first,
now.
you go first.
I just wanted to
I
thank
didn't
you.
know I can mesmerize people that way.
Oh, totally. I mean, your films do too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both. I loved it. I mean, I've been a fan of Seral's work for so long, but Lipika, I mean, I've seen this film. I watched, whatever I could get hold on online, and so I think your work is wonderful. And so I also thank you, Seral, for kind of showing us an extract of your film. I think we really appreciate it. I know we've been prodding you over the years, right, to show us something. So thank you. Thank you for having showed us this part. But I mean, I know you both, wonderful documentary filmmakers, and you also make fictional films. And I'm just wondering, whether you, because I am not a filmmaker at all, right? So I don't really know how you approach these and whether there are all kinds of different ways, but since it's always a team effort as well, isn't it? So I'm just wondering whether you approach a documentary film project and a feature and a fictional film project fundamentally differently. And also in the way you involve the community, are there any fundamental differences, or are you doing it quite similarly? Have you got quite a different mindset, and do you have preferences for either medium? So Seral, you can go first, and then Deepika can kind of ponder.
So yeah, quite practically, it also depends on the who is funding our film also. So but yeah, it happens my approach to docu or a film is it's quite personal. I'm not very deadline thing and all those things. I kind of put me a pressure to finish it more hurriedly and all of those things. But we have it is much of a participatory thing for me. I don't think I'm quite possible. It's quite possible for me to kind of do it myself, everything. So all of my films, which we see, you have seen, it's all kind of amalgamation of 2-3 people thinking the story, writing, and yeah. So I don't know, but Lipia should answer this first, I think.
Can I just ask you as well? Do you have a preference for either? Do you, if you were given a choice, you have so much funding and you can either do a fictional film or documentary, where would you be most drawn to?
I think this question about documentary and fiction, I think it's quite the what we say, it's quite it's blurry, it can be a fiction or a documentary. It's not very clear for me. So
no, thank you. That's an excellent answer too. Thank you.
I actually, but what after I've seen Lipika's film, and I also always thought of someday I can make something like the kind of narration she writes. I don't know how she is doing that. It's very, very beautiful. So I would like to know from Lipika, how do you do that? It's very personal and very engaging, and also it kind of hook you onto the screen.
Thank you for the question. Actually, to begin with Nicole's question, I was never trained as a filmmaker. Like I never got a training to be a film director. I studied sound recording and designing, and I operated as a person who had this mentality. And I was taught that you are someone who would be doing sound and designing for a film. You are not making a film, you know. So for 3-4 years, I only learned sound recording and designing and listening to sound very intently, minute sound detail and everything. And I was trained in classical singing music for 7-8 years in my childhood. So my ears were a bit trained already. So I could learn sound very, very in a very, very accurate way. And I never learned how to make a film as a filmmaker. So my transition, actually, I went my professional life, if we call filmmaking as a profession, I would not like to call it, but if hypothetically, if it is a profession for me, then my thing went into a transition period. When I went to the mainstream industry in Mumbai and tried to work as a sound person, I felt that I have so much inside me which need to be told. I cannot be one part of a film. And sometimes you are not very, align with the political ideas or ideology of your director. The film might be all good, but there are some nuances, there are so many things that you might not be okay with, but yet you have to go with the film because you are one of the crew member. So all these things made me a little bit of, unsettled, and I changed my perspective that, okay, I have spent these 4-5 years in a film school. Why can't I just go ahead and try to do what I want to do, tell what I want to say? I can also maybe make a film. That's how it started 10 years back. So when I came to Odisha, which is in the eastern part of the country, a lot of millions of people, but not a single woman filmmaker. At least practicing documentary filmmaker. There are 2 women filmmakers who are co-directing films with other partners and everything. But if you find till now, unfortunately, I'm the only practicing documentary woman filmmaker in Odisha. So 10 years back when I came here, there was no one making film. No one. Not even male filmmakers were continuously making films. So my response, I just felt that, whatever I make would be a kind of, it would be not a contribution. I don't know. I'm not getting the right word, but it would add something to this side of, part of my land, or the land that I'm connected with. And the language, Odia language that I speak in. I do not speak my tribal language. I speak in Odia language. My schooling was in Odia. So language and my connection became very important. So language, my connection with the land, I started exploring that initially. And to explore it, documentary filmmaking would be, I think, the best possible format for any artist or a filmmaker, because it is very close to people, language, everything. So it's the reality, it's the practical canvas that you can work on. So that's why I started with documentary filmmaking, taking a camera, slowly working on the ideas that I had. I made a film called A Tree, a Man, a Sea, Eko Gacha, Eko Maniso, Eko Samudra. In Odisha, there was no film which was named like this. A tree, a man, a sea. What is the name? What is this name? So even the name brings a certain kind of change in perspective. Oh, this kind of name which we have only heard in literature, that can also be made into film, and a woman can also think about it. And because it was only it had my personal, I speak in my film, and it was on my music teacher who wasn't there. He was no more. To extension to Cyril, that we in our community also, we really don't think that people died, even so when I could not find my music teacher, that's a long story, but I had to make something around it. I was tracing his presence in the absence. I had to narrate what I was going through and what I felt. That's how I compiled my images and sound, and that became a film, and that format became documentary filmmaking, and that is even called a film essay or personal film or something like that, categories. But it was close to documentary nonfiction. But then I started to, evolve as a filmmaker. I made some stories around witches, then made a very long research-oriented work on puppeteers called Backstage, where also last generation puppeteers all across Odisha, I traveled. Then after some stories around witches, which we have seen, Nicole, which is there on YouTube, please go and watch. That after that, I really changed as a person, and I felt, you asked me this question before this live Q&A, that the boundaries were there, which wasn't crossed, and it was like the language of the film. So I think because that was documentary, as a person, I kept those boundaries for me. This much of I can interfere, this much of I can even exploit as a filmmaker, as an artist. But then the film that I'm developing right now, Bird Woman, that has been completely inspired by all the documentaries that I have done. The characters, the realization of how these social constructs are happening and everything, that has been plotted in the film from my experience. So the characters are real, the plots are real, but the language is fiction. Why? Because when I was making documentary, I felt that no, I can go this much because they are not fictional character. Their lives are real. How much can I interfere? How much can I interrupt? But in fiction, I can push that boundary. I can go more deeper. I can go very close to the skin of the conflict or the skin of the character. And do I need to do that? Yes. Sometimes I need to do that as an artist, that I need to really go close, deep, and just go to that blood and bone. So in fiction, it becomes easier as a format. But in documentary, because you're really dealing with real character and people, and they are also dealing with those cases, dealing with this conflict, you have the ethics. You also have to protect.
Mm.
But in fiction, they are the fictional character. You can just push and push and push whatever, wherever you can go. And you have your limit, you have your threshold as a person also up to that. So I think these are my differentiation between this fundamental differentiation between that I have this much of respect and, protective ideas around my real people. And these are the fictional character where I want to go real. But I don't have those ethical, burden or ethical, this guilt within me that, I have just crossed that boundary, or I just, that responsibility maybe I have with the audience, maybe, depending on which culture we belong to, how progressive the audience is, how much I am pushing, that's a different kind of thing. But as an artist, fundamentally, I think non documentary and fiction, if I want to really push my boundaries and
Limits.
yeah, then I can go for that format. It depends on the subject.
So interesting. It's almost
I just
counterintuitive,
want
isn't
to
it?
ask you one thing, yeah. For Lipika, if you see, anyone's films, even for my films, if you see there, you can see some kind of lineage from where I'm coming. I've assisted documentary filmmakers who were social activists, who are social activists, who are completely, all the films will be very hard hitting on the face, and their storytelling will be very, crude that way. So if you see that my kind of film which I make, you can see the lineage, So my question is, when I see your film, and I've seen you personally, I haven't talked to you in the campus. I've seen you. You are very quiet. Yeah, I've never seen you speaking very much. So when I see your film and the type of lyrical narration and all the things which you give, I just wanted to know what are your inspirations and how do you, your storytelling, and how do you get into that?
Actually,
Your influence and all, yeah.
yeah, so I have a letter series called A Letter to My Late Grand Aunt. So it has three letters. One is Dragonfly and Snake, uh, which is like 10, 12 years back I wrote. And second is Night and Fear, and third is Recent, B and S. So they have two screens, two, three screens, multiple screens. So the thing is, when and about dead people, I also want to add here that, I had a brother. I mean, it's a bit personal, but let me share. He was stillborn and he died. So he was buried in our campus, in our village, in our home, village home compound under a mango tree. And I played around that mango tree like for hours. And I knew that, later I knew that he was buried there. We ate mangoes from there. Like, that's the best place I would get to play around and everything. And, so I spent my childhood in my home village, my maternal home village, where my grandmother and aunt were staying, and my grandfather left our home. So grand aunt and grandmother were the pillars of our home. So I was raised by women, And I was very close to, I belong to that generation who lived, the childhood in village, but then didn't get to go back, and roamed around cities and everything. So I think that, that uh, connection with my grand aunt, who could speak to nature, could speak to animals, could speak to the pond, the water, the birds, and everything. My friend used to be the twin mango tree and whatnot. That period of my life, I think, is the core which I really always go and visit. And that's why I do not really, I don't have this kind of filmmaking lineage. Everything comes from there. Everything just comes from that source of soil, or whatever you can say, the soil is made up of that. The world is made up of that. From everything comes from there. That's why it's a little internal.
Thank you, Lipika. And I think we are almost
Yeah.
out of time. So if anybody want to, that speak for the last moment, basically, if you have any thought or any point that you want to include in this discussion, you may go. Otherwise, I will just conclude this discussion here and there. Yeah,
It's-
Judith.
Yeah, just addressing, what Seral and Lipika were saying, about the genre, fiction or documentary. It goes back to the earlier discussion about the two boys and about the duality and the either or.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be either or.
Yeah.
So there is another genre. People have been referring to docufiction, which is another label and another way of trying to put a tag on something. But in fact, this docufiction offers something much more flexible in the category we may want to put the films. So I just thought it was interesting as a term. Anyway.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you both and or everybody, and also, thank you so much, Neeraj, for organizing this. I know it takes a lot of time to organize a festival like this, so thank you so much. You've been doing so much work sort of in the background, but thank you all so much, and thank you, Sera, Lipika. It's just been so wonderful, and it's been so wonderful reconnecting with you, Sera, and it's been so lovely meeting you, Lipika. This is not going to be the last thing that we'll do together, I'm sure.
Sure.
Okay, then I think I will just end this discussion by thanking all the people who have joined here and all the audience as well who have watched the films. And I would just particularly like to thank Lipika, that through your film, The Waterfall, I deeply felt like that the Mahanadi within me, I could feel that. And I hope that we can all cherish and protect the Mahanadi that flows within us. And on this note, I would like to end the discussion here. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.